Hi, I'm Brad Knowles, producer of Friday Night Flies, hosted by Scott LeBoldis and Scotty Holmes. Enjoy the show.
Alright, here we are back again, round 2, Friday Night Flies here at Tawasin Bass Pro. So again, I'm going to show you this guy, again, under UV light this time, once we head down. But, so this one I'm going to knock out 2 flies for you. Early season, searching pattern, hanging patterns, fish are kind of lazy sometimes, bloodworms. So they're both fairly similar, but they both catch fish, pretty easy to tie again. Again, something you can fill your box up with. Hopefully the snow stops at some point and the weather kind of warms up and we can get out on the lakes. I'm starting to get pretty excited, just got a new float tube. Really looking forward to lake season. So yeah, let's head on down and check this stuff out. Alright, so here we go. Pink Reaper under UV light. She pops. Gonna be a pretty killer one this summer. We're really looking forward to that pink fishery. Alright, let's pop that out of the vise. We are on to our next fly. We're gonna be tying up this itty bitty guy from salmon to still water. So I'm gonna do up a couple bloodworms for you. Pretty quick and easy. Little split tail on this guy. Pretty killer. So I'm going to throw in a size 12 Daiichi 1150 into the vise. This hook's kind of cool. It's got a bit of a curve to it. A 7/64 metallic red bead. UTC 70 red thread. And we're just going to start that behind the bead. Work our way back. So again, this is a pretty easy still water pattern. Early in the season, works quite well. Take that thread down the bend a little bit. Take it back up to the top. Alright, so where did that stuff go? Alright, so I've got some Stillwater Solution, midge stretch floss, a lot of substitutions for this stuff. Kind of looks like that. This stuff is stretchy. And what we're going to do, we're just going to fold it over itself. Roughly line those tails up. Tie that in right behind the bead. Kind of seat that right on top, right where we want it. And what we're going to do here is as we tie this back, we're going to pull on the tails, and that's going to stretch out the material and just create a lot less bulk on the fly. So we're going to take that down almost to the end of the hook there. And then we're going to take our thread all the way back up. Make sure those are seated where we want them. You can be a little rough with this stuff, but don't go too crazy because it will snap on you, and then you only got one tail. I'm sure the fish don't care, but for us it doesn't look so good. So as I cut this, I'm going to stretch it as well. Cut it off, and that's going to suction itself back up into the thread wraps. Now I'm going to cut the tails. They're going to be about 4 or 5 millimeters, like so. So next step, we're going to be tying in a piece of pearl crystal flash. This is going to be our rib. So we're just going to kind of tuck that up into the bead there. We're not going to pull back on this too hard as we wrap it back, because if you straighten this stuff out, it loses that pearl quality to it. So it doesn't shimmer as much as it should. Take that thread back up. And our body material is going to be some vinyl rib in midge size and red. Cut myself off a chunk here. Now if you look at this stuff, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but it should look like a D. So there's a flat side and a curved side. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie the flat side down, and we're going to, when we wind it up, it's going to have that curved side on the outside, so it looks like some segmentation. So we're just running this through my fingers a few times, just kind of warm it up. It helps to stretch it out. We're going to tie that in right on top, if we're lucky. There we go. That's just catching in. And as we wrap this back, we're going to stretch it out and just pull it back. Again, help reduce the bulk on this fly. There we go. And wind that back forward. And we're going to make sure that that flat side is on the bottom. And we're just going to stretch this as we wrap it. As we get closer to the front, we're going to kind of ease off on how much we're pulling it, just to kind of get a little bit more segmentation on this fly. And the wraps don't have to be perfect. Couple wraps right behind the bead. Catch that in. Lock it down. Just with a couple wraps. Same thing with this guy, we're going to stretch it, snip it. That's going to shrink up right into those thread wraps. Now we're going to take this crystal flash, we're going to take a full turn at the back. Again, not pulling too hard. You don't want to flatten it out. And we're going to wrap this up every other segment here, if it wants to cooperate. There we go. We're going to coat this with some Loon UV resin here, just to kind of help protect this bad boy. There we go. Be careful with this stuff. You don't take your time, as David McPhail would say. A couple wraps behind the bead. Alright, cinch that down. A couple behind the bead. Trim that away. And fill in that gap. A couple little whip finishes here. Seat the bead, trim it away. Go. I'm going to finish it off with some fly finish and flow. Don't need a lot, just a little bit. Got a little bit too much there. It's the beauty of this stuff, you can keep on working with it. Really massage it into those segments. That looks about right. So now we just zap it with our light. Cure that sucker up. So the thing I like about the flow versus the thin, it is a little bit more runny, it's a little trickier to work with, but it's tack free, which is really nice. I find the thin and the thick can be kind of tacky. If you're ever using that stuff, definitely finish it off with a coat of the flow. It doesn't add a lot of bulk, and it's nice and smooth. Alright, so that's number one. Pop that out of the vise. On to Bloodworm number 2. So this one, a little bit different. We've got a Marabou tail, similar idea. Pop that out of the vise. So this is a Mustad C49S size 10, I believe. All these patterns I'd tie them in 10, 12, 14. Probably going to be my most common sizes that I'm going to use. I like to have it on a little bit of an angle. Just kind of helps set it up with the tail. So again, 7/64 gold bead this time. UTC 70 red again. And I'm going to start that right behind the bead. Start wrapping back. Trim off our tag. Wrap back towards the end of the bend there. Just kind of keep our thread kind of there. So yesterday I was out and about, cruising around some shops, picked up some Sail Stillwater Solutions materials. They're still a little bit floating around. So I picked up some of this red Marabou with this pattern in mind. The thing I like about this stuff versus your normal red Marabou, I've actually got an example here. So if I hit that with a UV light, that tail glows, which is not what I want for this one. This one, I UV'd the tail, kind of absorbs all the light, so it's a little more natural looking. So with this guy here, I'm just going to take a small portion off the stem, don't need too much. Sticking to me here. So I kind of lucked out, I found 4 packs of that olive crystal chenille I was using on my bugger pattern last week, and I bought them all. And they were all on sale for like $1, so it was a big win. So I can keep tying that pattern for a little while, which is kind of nice. Now this, we're gonna wrap this up, kind of open spiral this if you like. You'll kind of clump that all together. Up right to behind the bead. Trim that away. We're going to trim that tail. Maybe 1 centimeter in length, a little bit less, somewhere around there. Perfect. Onto our rib material for this one. So I've got some UTC ultra wire and silver. I believe it's small size. That it is. Cut off a couple inches there. Jam that into the bead there. That way our thread doesn't catch on the end. I'm going to wind that down on the side facing me, following the curvature of the hook. There we go. Kind of wrap all the way forward. So we've got a nice uniform body on this. Again, you're going to take some more of that mid-stretch flex. Lots of substitutions for this stuff. This is just the one I've got. So I'm going to cut myself a piece here, as you can see, quite stretchy. And that's, I'm going to tie in just like I did the rib. I'm going to shove the end into the bead there. I'm going to wrap this back on top, and as I wrap it back, I'm going to stretch it just to reduce the bulk on this fly. Keep it nice and slender. This stuff makes some killer chronomid bodies, as well as cheeks on chronomid, any kind of buzzer pattern if you've ever seen that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll do some up in the next couple weeks here to kind of show you that. So I'm just going to stretch this at the back just to create, again, less bulk. And as we go forward, I'm going to release the tension that I'm pulling back on this with, and it's going to kind of build up a little bit of a taper. Do that nice quickly here for you. And I'm starting to ease off on the tension here. Probably see it's getting a little bit thicker. It's a fun material to work with. We got it in all sorts of colors here. Greens and blacks and reds. And a couple wraps behind the bead to kind of fill in that gap. Finish that off. A couple wraps in front. Again, I'm going to stretch this as I cut it. It's all going to suction itself into the thread wraps there. And with my wire next, I'm going to take a full turn at the back. And just like the last one, every other segment or so, we're going to wrap this wire nice and even. Take your time. You can make it as perfect or as unperfect as you want. There we go. Lock that down behind the bead. Trim that away. Just kind of squish that down here. There we go. And we're going to just fill in that void behind the bead there. Just build up a little bit of a neck here. So like I said, this pattern's pretty killer, especially early in the spring. Can't wait to get my new fish cap float tube out. Really looking forward to that. It'll be nice to sit out of the water this year. Alright, a couple little whip finishes. Seat the knot, trim away, and again, finish it off with some flow. Don't need much. This stuff adds a really nice sheen, makes a really realistic looking pattern. Just a little bit. Yeah, like I was saying, the thing I like about this stuff really dries tack free, which is pretty cool. I'm just gonna even that out a little bit and zap it with the UV light, cure that up. Alright, there you have it. Bloodworm number 2. 2 for 1. Alright, let's head on up and sign out. Alright everybody, there you have it. 3 flies this week. A little bonus one there at the end for you. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please check out our Facebook page, our Bass Pro one, as well as Friday Night Flies. We'd love to hear from you guys. We post videos and photos and all sorts of fun stuff, cool things that we're working on. We're kind of playing around with the idea of a new logo. I've got a few up on there right now. Please let us know what you think. I know Scott's got one in the works on paper. He hasn't put it to computer yet. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. So we're just throwing around some ideas, trying to figure out what we want to do with this show. So any feedback you guys have, please let us know. Give us suggestions for patterns, anything. Come on, hit us up. We like a challenge. So hope you guys enjoyed this week. We've got some cool things in store coming up. We've got our Spring Fishing Classic sale. So we've got some really cool deals. We've got a bunch of new product coming in. We got some new float tubes, which are our brand or White River stuff. They're pretty slick looking. Some new sling packs. We've got a new reel coming out. Fully machined, around $100, which is insane. Good luck finding that anywhere else. It's a really nice reel too. We've also got a trade-in program going on. So you can bring in any old rod or reel, bring it in, and we give you a dollar value towards a new gear, which is insane. We'll even have some charity bins, so you can pick up a reel for like $10 that we sell to you. Then you trade that one in, and we give you again those discounts towards new reels, which is pretty sweet. A lot of that's going to be the used gear is going to go to the Go Fish Freshwater Fisheries Society, which is kind of cool. We've kind of paired up with them. So there's some cool stuff going on there. So please check back in. I'll try to have a look at the flyer in the next little bit, let you guys know what's going on. So that big sale is going to be March 3rd to 19th. I think the trade-in is running from the 9th to the 19th. Definitely, I'll try to get some more details for you next week, and I'll definitely let you guys know. So again, check us out on Facebook. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you next week.